Hi, this is Dave from Heroes Needed, just one of the many fine shows you can find on the Nod Network. Visit us on nerdod.com or subscribe on iTunes, Google Podcasts, or Spotify, or wherever else you get your favorite podcasts.
I only ever got Lego when I was a kid. If we had to go to hospital, my dad would be like, "Gotta be brave now." I'd be like, "I don't want to do it." He's like, "Well, you can have this."
I was thinking, like, how often were you going to the hospital to get all this Lego? Weren't you here to have your bones set like 3 weeks ago? Like, what's going on?
All of a sudden, social services just turn up because my dad's just always coming with Lego and like
Lego and broken children.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Nerd OD podcast, where three of your favourite nerds, hopefully, are just going to sit around, chat some gubbins, and hopefully regale you on some of the latest news and upbeat stuff that's coming through this week.
Hopefully we're their favourites, or hopefully there's three of us.
Hopefully your favourites. Okay, I'll just do the usual. You ready? Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Nerd OD podcast.
That wasn't a no, that didn't work. That was a no, I've got nothing to talk about.
Oh, right. I thought it was just a no.
we're going to use that.
Reg assumed he was being dismissed. Like, oh, okay, I won't use that then.
No, it's fine. So the three voices you hear are Dan, Reg. Hello, I'm Reg.
Oh,
and
sorry,
Dave.
Hang on, I am all thrown off. I thought you were introducing us, Dan, because you
I thought that's what Dan was doing. That's why I stayed quiet.
So I got confused.
Oh no, I was waiting for Reg to go.
I talked over Reg, and it's all a nightmare. It's all gone.
That's the problem with Skype, isn't it? That you can't really see when someone's about to start talking, and there's none of that eye contact to be like, "I want to talk next. Let me jump in."
Yeah,
just talk over each other.
We may also have a fourth voice coming through very shortly.
Okay.
In the style of Oliver. Making his first appearance on the Nerd OD podcast.
Excellent.
And what sounds like shaking a bottle full of marbles? Is that what's happening right now?
It's a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Hoover.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
One of those with all the little balls in.
It is indeed.
Right.
Special kind of nightmare sound.
Oh, yeah. Because, I haven't had enough Mickey Mouse Clubhouse today.
No,
I only started at 4:30 this morning.
But
it was magnificent.
What is the extent of Oliver's vocabulary, though, Reg?
He goes, "Aya, dada, 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 dada." Ooh, he's doing oohs now.
Okay.
He does say odd words, but he won't be able to string together sentences.
If we need a review of something, like a review of the Westworld season finale or something like that, could he give us?
I reckon he could give you a triumphant review of this week's Mickey Mouse mix-up.
Okay.
Adventures. I'll get him to do that later if we run out of things to talk about.
Fair enough. How is everyone?
I am bloody good, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, excellent.
I am phenomenal. I've had a really good week. So
it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've finally, after a couple of years, got the TV up on the wall. So that means that Reg is allowed the PS4 and operational, which is amazing. I've been playing on my Fire Emblem, which I've been talking about loads. I am fully aware of that, so people probably might get bored of that. However, this week, literally last night it was, Ash was on the phone to her mates doing like their group chat that they do. So I was like, I won't play on the PS4, I'll just play on the Switch at the side. So I'm not being loud playing the game I want to talk about in a minute. I just played Fire Emblem. So I've never had sound on this game, much like when we were discussing when I used to watch the Umbrella
Academy.
The Umbrella Academy. I never knew what anyone sounded like. I think I've been playing Fire Emblem Hero Three Houses now for just over 30 odd hours, and I didn't realise, because it's all got text boxes around it. Never knew that they were voice acted because I've had no sound on.
A lot of games, it's just you'll see the text come up and it'll just go like a little noise, won't it? Of this person is talking,
but not this.
Yeah. No,
they all have voices that sound nothing like I expected them to sound like.
Okay.
slightly a bit weird. But Ash was like, yeah, I was like, well, why don't you just stick it on the big TV, and then when I finish on the call, we'll play some Mario. And I was like, oh, I'll put it on the TV then. So I put it on the TV, and I was like, holy shit, this looks amazing, because it's all looks like a manga, like anime. It looks beautiful. I was playing it through, and so there's 3 houses in this school that basically you're
in the game along Fire Emblem 3 houses
with each other. And then something happens where one of the houses basically just up and sort of goes. So then it leaves 2 houses that are coming through. And I thought I created this union with this second house as we went to basically just stop a massive empire invading this country. And it turned out, as Ash was on her call, I got betrayed after literally trying for the last 30 hours to get this dude trained up and max level and all the main for it. He literally backstabbed me and just murdered 3 of my guys. 2 of my proper homeboys that I made sure that I've stuck through thick and thin and done everything for them. And my healer, my only healer in the entire game. Now, this is a game that if your character dies, they're gone for good. There's no getting back from it. They are just dead. So the utter betrayal halfway through this 45 to hour literally battle right towards the end, and I was just and just screaming and abuse, and Ash was like, wow, this is just a game. I was like, you don't understand. It's not just a game. This was betrayal. This was all my hard work. And I was literally mind blown, just how they managed to pull a twist and turn it on me. And I messaged Mike, the lad who's playing it, and he's like, your story's well different than mine. It's oh my god, I'm going to have to do multiple playthroughs of this. So I'll apologise in advance for the entire NerdOD season 2 of me going, by the way, guys, this game's now probably about 4 years old, but still, this is happening.
Well, that's fine, because people are used to there being a running theme about a game that they don't care about.
Well, on that note then.
Oh, Reg, I'm sorry. I could feel in that moment that Dan said that, I could just feel you sitting back a little bit from the computer, just being like, oh, okay, I see. Just quietly, and I felt really bad. I felt bad because I'm one of those people who doesn't understand this game. I'd never played it, but I enjoy hearing you talk about it.
Oh, no, absolutely. I'm not saying don't at all.
Oh, no, because I will when I have some information about it.
Dan's not saying don't. He's just saying he doesn't care. So.
No, I'm saying the people at home don't.
Oh, fair enough. We care, Reg.
There's at least 2 people. And that's all that matters.
Yeah,
that's interesting. It's interesting. I think speaking about taking about the games people don't care about anymore. That thing about voice acting, it resonates, because I always think about Mass Effect, and I bring up Mass Effect because I read something which got me very excited.
Yeah, I really hope it's true as well. But anyway, go on.
So that's the big reveal now, Dan, because everyone's excited because you're excited.
I have no idea what this is.
I know. I only ever played it as the male shepherd. Right. I started the game. That was the first option. I just picked it. Played the game. In my head then, that was Shepard, so I never changed. I never played the female version of Shepard.
Yeah, and from 2 onwards, you could completely change what you look like, couldn't you? Because they rebuilt your body, and they're like, well, do you want to just change what you look like? And I was just like, oh, well, yeah, character creation, great. No, because he looks like that.
Yeah, so that's it. So I just kept it. So Jennifer Hale, who is a fantastic voice actress, I've never heard her dialogue, and I played that game. My playthrough was like 120 hours of that saga, that 3-game saga. So there's so much that she has put in that I have never heard, and I'm very upset about that. But there may be a chance to rectify that, because the rumor is that the long-awaited, I mean, bearing in mind Mass Effect, the series finished, if you don't count Andromeda, which is a different game, Mass Effect 3 came out in 2012, so I've been waiting some time for this. A Mass Effect HD remaster for current generation consoles is rumored to be on the cards by beginning of next year. Well, there was a reveal through EA Games of titles that were coming out without any titles or sorry, without
I have it here. Shall I read it?
Oh yes, please, Dan.
So Burnout Paradise remastered for the Switch. Brilliant. Again. Command and Conquer remastered for the PC. Medal of Honor VR.
That is going to be so good.
Absolutely.
Like, Command and Conquer, the original Command and Conquer, is still one of the greatest games of all time. And I continuously, whenever you play Killer Darts, and you've got to throw the first dart with your weakest hand.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I throw with my left hand because that's like my weakest one. So I chuck my dart, and whenever I get a good one, I'm always like, that was left-handed, which is the commando from Command and Conquer.
Right, I was wondering where that little story was going to.
Oh, it's so good. It's that line will always be stuck in my head.
Fair enough.
Sorry. Anyway, yeah.
It's weird that they don't make games like that now, though, do they?
It is rare because they died massively, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like they tried to convert into 3D with Generals.
Not even just Command and Conquer, just like turn-based games like that.
On the topic of children going rogue, mine is currently trying to climb out of her cot. So I'm going to bow out for a second.
Okay.
I'll be back with you as soon as I can. Carry on. Now.
Mine's just brought me a ball to play with.
Brilliant. Well, I'm just sat here on my own, and it's fine.
Sorry, you can get your hamster.
Oh yeah, let me go and get Pudge. He'll make some noise.
Pudge will make noise, and then all of us can have someone.
Yeah, there was just I remember when Command and Conquer was at its sort of height. We were sort of working at the game shop, and there's so many different games that were like that sort of turn-based strategy. And I can't think of anything since, like StarCraft 3 maybe, whatever, or 2 rather, because 3 hasn't,
Yeah,
but
that's the thing. StarCraft 2 and the add-on packs, like they sold phenomenally. They were brilliant. Absolutely. And if you go on BattleNet, I'm almost adamant you can play them for free. I'm not sure if it's just at the moment, but I know like a while back I was like, oh, I wonder if I can put this on the work laptop. Oh shit, turns out I can. Like, oh, that's nice. It runs quite smooth as well. So I was like, at some point I'm going to play through this because it's one series that I really want to get into, but just never.
No.
Because everything I always try is just never Command and Conquer.
No.
And Command and Conquer Red Alert 3 with Tim Curry is just by far one of the best games of all time ever.
Yep.
I will never, ever not be able to mention how good that game is in an argument when people are like, FMVs in games are ridiculous. I'm like, there's two things. One, Resident Evil live intro for the first one is by far the greatest FMV that has ever graced this planet. Okay. If not the greatest all-time cinematography.
I would challenge that. I would only challenge that on the grounds that I think Resident Evil 3 had the greatest intro of any game.
It did, but that wasn't live action, if I remember correctly, was it?
Sorry. You're right. That was CG. Yeah, CG, sorry.
This is the greatest. And you can quote in games, like how many times when like your partner drives off in the car or something when you're meant to you're like, oh, you need this one thing. It's like, no, don't go. And then just clench fist, bring to chest. It's just like, there's so many quality lines from the Resident Evil intro that you can just beat for beat. I can still picture how good it is now and how amazing the voiceover is. It's like Barry Burton, Jill Valentine.
And you always wanted to do a remake of it.
I did.
Do it at the V-Fest for some reason.
I always wanted to, because it's the one time everyone would be drunk, everyone would be well up for it, and to have one of those yappy dogs that does the backflips. It would be amazing. And I still, to this day, wanted, despite the fact there's no more V-Fest, pour one out for the homies. I really want to do it at some point. I think it would be great.
Sorry, I realized that I ran away. Did you actually get to the piece of news, Dan? That I was alluding to?
No. So we've just been talking about Command and Conquer. But yeah, so that Medal of Honor VR, FIFA,
only for the Oculus
NHL
Store, isn't it?
21. I don't know. It doesn't say anything on this. I'm on.
It's annoying. It's never coming out. It's a Oculus exclusive, if I remember correctly. Because I really wanted to play it.
I can't imagine EA would stick to one format, Reg. There's apparently an unannounced sports game which people think is UFC because that's been, overdue. Then 6 EA partner games, they're not saying what they are, and a HD remake of an EA game series. And that's what everyone is saying. That's Mass Effect.
And if it's not, I don't understand what they're doing.
No,
because
I can't believe it's taken this long.
It's ripe for it. And I am someone who I purchased that game series 3 separate times at different points in my life to play it all the way through. If they release it on this console, I will buy it a 4th time. I will give them my money for those games just to play that story through again, because the storytelling was fantastic. I mean,
and to get all 3 for 40 quid or something like that.
I mean, Jesus, that would be a steal, an absolute steal with the amount. I mean, granted, I have a kid now, which makes the amount of time I can pour into that game, it would take me about 4 years to achieve the same level as I did previously on it, but it will be 100% worth it, because it is. I've gone about it before, and I've bored people on this podcast a number of times previously, saying how great that game is and how Andromeda was such a missed opportunity for something great. Because Andromeda wasn't a bad game.
I've still not even dipped into it for $4.99 that I saw it for recently.
You know what? For a $5, I would definitely give it a go.
But is it worth my time? Because I have so many games that I want to play through, and my time that I have to allocate to playing games is limited.
Well, don't get me wrong.
Do I want to waste on that?
It's not Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 quality, but the story is still very good in Andromeda. There's a lot of parts that are a bit, I'm not sure why they chose this, the way they went with it, but the story itself is very good. However, if you get the choice in the male and female character again, play the female character, because if you play the male character, there are some elements of the story that just feel shitty.
Interesting.
I don't want to give it away in case you do play it, but there's a couple things where if you're playing as the male character, it just feels like this isn't the right thing. It doesn't feel good to play it.
Should EA have been cancelled?
No. It was just. I mean, I kind of want to tell you now.
Just go for it.
All right, so it's not it's not a massive thing. It happens very early in the game. So the idea is the male and female character are brother and sister, and you are on this voyage, and your father is the sort of head soldier dude. I forget his actual role, but he's big boss, right? Now he meets an unfortunate end, and one of the siblings, whichever one you are playing, takes command. However, the way the story sets up, the sister is way more qualified. 100%, chain of command, she'd be next in chain of command. Without and for reasons that they establish in the story, it's very apparent. But if you're playing as the male character, you're the one there at the time that the father picks because you're in the scene. So you get ahead, and they touch on it a couple times where someone challenges it, and you dialogue options, you can determine how you want to respond to it. But it just feels like if you were the brother, you'd have been like, well, shit, no, my sister's way more qualified. She should be in charge. She's the boss. And they didn't really. I could never really shake that feeling when I was playing it. So
that's interesting. So you get exactly the same sort of game, regardless of which one you get, apart from maybe some little dialogue choices along the way.
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
But the character you don't choose has a story, to alternate.
Yes.
That's clever.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's cool, and also the backstory for each of those characters is a bit different, and it's great. But if you are going to put the time in and play it, which I do think is worth a play, play as the female character.
Right. Yeah. But also, does it end on a cliffhanger?
Do you know? I don't think I ever actually completed it.
Oh, fair enough.
because again,
I heard it was the start of a new trilogy, so.
Well, it wasn't.
Yeah, I know, absolutely.
Well, no, I never. Because it had that kind of thing where the Mass Effect series was big, right? The first Mass Effect game was a bit too big. You had to drive around planets, and that was time consuming and a bit. So that was, and then they sort of trimmed it back with the second and third games and kind of streamlined it and focused it a bit. But in Andromeda, they kind of went back to that big kind of scale, big open world type thing, and it looked awfully pretty and all the rest of it because new game platforms, new engines, the rest of it. But it was just a bit too big. So yeah, it was just a bit too big to finish. The story, as far as I got into it, was interesting, and there was bits of intrigue and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, it just wasn't. It wasn't. Mass Effect 3 had had, I don't know. I was going to say it had flaws. I think people saw it as flawed. I disagree. I don't think it was as flawed like everyone said. But Andromeda has flaws. It definitely has flaws. But it looks nice, and it's fun to play. And it's nice to get back into that universe. I just wish they'd have set a story within Shepard's own timeline. But that was the choice they made. So now make up for that choice by giving me a goddamn remaster.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm passionate about that game series. One day it's the hill I will die on, arguing for the Mass Effect series over all other series. But you know what? I'm fine with that. I'm fine. I've made peace with that. Everyone's got one, I think. Everyone's got one game series that they will fight to the death for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mine is definitely Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
I was just going to say that.
Mine is Pippa Funnel.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I still can't believe that exists and how many copies we sold. It was frightful.
It's for those who don't know, I don't know whether you know of it, Dave, but it was like a dressage game.
Oh, God.
So just literally you would look after a horse and then you would get it all pretty
horse
so you could
dancing
take
on a
it to horse
console?
shows.
That seems mental.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just PlayStation 1, yeah.
That's
Classic.
nuts. That is nuts. You know what? Speaking of that past life, Reg, I saw a photo of you the other day in that location, and I'll be honest, all this time I've never seen any evidence that it ever actually was true. You've always spoken about it with a type of passion, but I'd never seen anything to actually confirm that it actually happened.
No.
And then I saw something and went, oh wow, there we are.
We did talk about this last week. But without anyone's uninformed opinion about it, do you know what I mean? So, yeah. It was a good day.
Yeah.
Oh right, okay. I was just like, we talked about what the dressed as a prostitute from Grandma's Daughter.
Exactly. I just want to see me in my pimp costume again. That's all.
I mean, it was
somewhere up in the loft.
Yeah.
I've got all my box of photos and stuff up in the loft, and me and the wife are actually going through them at some point at the loft boxes. So when I find it this week,
well, Reg, my dad, who is significantly older than you, went up into a loft to get something for me this week. So if he can do it. My dad went up and got my old Lego pirate ship.
Oh, nice. Which one? The green and black one? Or the other one?
The red and white sailing, the big one.
I had the green and black one. The smaller ship, but I liked it.
Yeah. No, well, it's this.
I only ever got Lego when I was a kid. If we had to go to hospital for like an operation.
Right.
Jesus.
It used to be like a thing where my dad would be like, right, ooh, you've got to be brave now. And be like, I don't want to do it. He's like, well, you can have this. And I'm like, oh my God, the size of that pirate ship. And we got like
quality bribery.
We had the pirate ship. We got a space rocket. And we got, our castle was like a big, huge castle thing, which was the third one we got. And that was me just saying to Oculus, like, you need to try and push me down some stairs or like a hill or something to break something so we couldn't get this operation done. It was nothing like that at all because he refused point blank to do it because my dad would know. So it had to be like, an actual proper serious incident, which thankfully, one of us did have.
I was thinking, like, how often were you going to the hospital to get all this Lego collection? Did they not start asking questions, being like, weren't you here to have your bones set like 3 weeks ago? Like, what's going on?
All of a sudden, social services just turn up because my dad's just always coming with Lego and like, no, I'm sorry.
Just Lego and broken children.
So good. But one of my colleagues got furloughed at the beginning of last month. And he literally sent us a picture just before he came back in going, furlough time well spent. And he bought the Batmobile. The Tumbler Batmobile. Amazing Batmobile. Mm-hmm. The old school Batmobile.
Oh,
the one
nice.
Really fancy, like 350 quid Batmobile.
Jesus.
He bought that and he's lit it up and stuff, like proper, made it look amazing. And on the video he sent us, he had the Batman tune playing, and it was just like, A, fucking hell, that is amazing. B, you've got far too much money. Like, how do you earn this? You work with me, and I know you don't earn that sort of money to throw at Lego. He doesn't have a kid.
There you go.
He does have really, but he's the sort of guy when you're like, again, when he was furloughed, we were chatting. And he's like, yeah, so there was some pallets in work. I wondered what to do. So I've just built this birdhouse. And it's amazing, this birdhouse. It's not like a really shittily made one. It's like really like professional, proper one. He's got all the tools for it. He leather works. He literally creates anything you can think of. He will be able to create it for you. He's
sounds like a man with
trades.
It sounds like a man with too many hobbies for me. Too many hobbies.
But
you can be good at one or two of those things. Yeah. More than that, you're showing off.
Because I'm just sitting there going, oh, you know what I'd love? I'd love to be at, like, with the Shenmue stuff. And I was like, I'd love to have, like, the Rio pop vinyl. Like, just get, like, a custom-made one. But I'd never have the skills to do it. He was like, don't worry, I'll sort that out. Created me one. And I was like, that's fucking amazing. My
Wait, he
coaster,
built you a Funko Pop?
Yeah, he literally custom-made this, like, built up this Ryozuki Funko Pop. And laid over it, put it in a kiln, like the full works. But he's got a tool for everything as well. He just goes out and he's one of these sort of guys. When I used to be like, "Oh, this game's coming out, I won't have time to play it, but I'll buy it." He's like, "Oh, what's this tool? Oh, what's this gadget?" Probably will never use it, but just on the off chance, I will spend 170 quid on it. And he does it, and he'll always find a purpose for it. So, like, every Christmas or birthday, it's dead exciting because I know I'll have something crafted and created, Shenmue affiliated. Like, my leather coaster, he literally hand done the title screen picture. But in this leather coaster, I'll have to show you a picture of Dave because it is stunning. I sewn it on the NerdOD page years back when he made it. But it's bloody brilliant, and people walk past it and be like, wow, where'd you get it from? It's like, it does look that good, but it genuinely is just created by Mike.
That's impressive. Well, Dan shared with me a photo of the pirate ship, and I'm jealous of that as well, Dan. That's the ship, the bigger ship that I did not have, and I'm sad about it. Speaking of spending money on things I'll never use, so right before the UK lockdown became an actual thing, rewind about a month, I finished a beginner's archery course.
Nice.
I had a great time, really enjoyed it, going to take it up as a hobby, very exciting. Right before lockdown happened, so I was due to start my membership at this archery club on the 1st of April. So about a week and a half, 2 weeks before that, I went to an archery shop. Now, the thing with archery shops is they are very cool if you're into the thing, quite intimidating because there's a lot of stuff and a lot of it's real expensive, and also nowhere near where I live. So I had to drive a 3-hour round trip to go to this shop because smartass Dave over here decided that he more enjoyed a compound bow than a regular recurve bow.
You've got it.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So the best shop to go to was a 3-hour round trip drive in Loughborough. So that's a long way from where I live. And so I went there with my brother-in-law, and we went browsing. And the problem with that is you can't just browse because they give you like personal service for like, I was there for like hours, like genuinely hours, deciding on stuff. And I spent a sum of money on a bow and arrows and equipment for them to officially enforce a lockdown the week after, which has now been sitting upstairs in my office unused since that day. And I am very sad. And
so, you not, like, sneak out and be a vigilante?
Well, I needed to practice first, Reg. I got to join the club, get a few months under my belt.
That's what the bad guys are for.
Yeah, but even Batman had that whole going off into the wilderness, getting trained up. Came back to fight the villains. You don't come in at Green Arrow just nailing crackheads. You get some practice first, right?
How do you know if you don't try?
Well, I'm not saying that I'm not any good, guys. Come on, I'm arrogant enough to assume that I'm at least pretty good, but I do know that if I want to go up against vigilantes, I've only got 8 arrows, so I need to be good. I need to make sure I'm hitting those shots because I got 8 chances, and then they are on me. But yeah, it's just been sitting in my office, and I'm like, please reopen the club so I can actually use this fucking 400-pound piece of equipment that I spent money on that my wife is mad about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, she knew I was going. She didn't know quite how much I was going to spend, and she also didn't know that they were going to lock down the country the week later, so there's also that. Speaking of, I'm going to help said wife bring in shopping. So please carry on. I shall return in a couple minutes.
Awesome. So while he's gone and he was talking about bows and archery and stuff, I have a new game that I'm genuinely getting a little tad obsessed with.
All right.
You probably guessed it because someone posted a Facebook post. And
I did. I saw someone posted on our Nerd OD page, because there's 4 of us that have access to it. So sometimes you don't really know who it is who's posting things. This one was kind of obvious because within 5 minutes, you had personally shared it on Facebook, going, "Oh, I couldn't agree more with this post," even though it's entirely you. You've been playing Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, right?
Yeah, so Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. It's been out on the PC for a while now. VR only. You can't play it in non-VR. On the PSVR, you need to use the Move controllers. So straight away, I was like, right, I really want to play this, but the Move controllers usually have issues in trying to sync it up with the camera, so it never really works that great. I will, hand on my heart, say that I have not played a VR title probably as good as this that's solely for VR, like not including Resident Evil 7, which is like the best experience still in VR. This comes ever so slightly behind it, and I'm not even anywhere near the end of it yet. Apparently it's only 15 hours. I've put about 12 in, and I'm not that far. So if you take your time with it and thoroughly just indulge in the atmosphere and go around looting and crafting and stuff, you can take it, make it last as long as you want. But because you use the Move controllers, obviously one's your left, one's your right hand going through. If you pick up like huge axes or pipes, you literally got to put your left hand or your strongest hand at the top and your weakest hand at the bottom. However you want to toss and turn it, you can flip it round and use both hands. So you've got both Move controllers underneath each other to sort of whack it and stuff. But it's precision done. It's fantastic, and the whole nerve-wracking experience of like the first zombie coming up to you is a bit like, it's a tutorial, it's fine. You get like a screwdriver in your left, like you've got satchels on your left and right sides. Right hand side is usually your firearm, left hand side your melee weapon. But anything that's like a big huge thing like an axe or the bow and arrows, that sort of stuff, will go in your backpack behind you. So you've got to physically put your left or right hand behind you, pull the trigger out, and that'll bring out your weapon. So you feel as though you're literally holding it, which is just awesome. But the melee combat is so brutal and it's so heavy. It's like it feels weighty, even though it's just a Move controller in your hand, no matter how you do it.
I'm back. All I heard was it's big, it's heavy and weighty, and I was like, what are we talking about?
I'm talking about Walking Dead Saints and Sinners.
I see, okay.
So it is coming out on the Quest later on this year, Dave.
Nice.
And if you don't buy it, I will never speak to you ever again. It is
VR zombies, though, might not do well for me, though, Reg. I'm not good with horror in general, and zombies in virtual reality in my face might be an unpleasant time. But, I'll have a look at it.
Mate, it is just, that alone. Genuinely, if that's going to make you cry like a girl, probably best off not. I've done it several times. And it's I'd like to say it gets easier, but it genuinely doesn't. So you start off like on this little boat ride and you're going through, you find out the backstory and stuff, what's going down. So far, I found no relevance at all to The Walking Dead. So I presume it's just the namesake. I might, you might...
It's in the same world, but it's very standalone.
Apparently it's based in the comic book universe, right. So it's nothing about the actual TV series, it's not about the comic book stuff. But it doesn't look comic booky, it looks just grim. So basically you start off with just the likes of a screwdriver, and you get like a pistol. So your pistol you can either have the clips, so it's a bit like the London Heist or Truth and Blood, where you literally move the Move controller underneath it to reload the gun. Or if you've got a revolver, you literally flick the Move controller to the side and it opens up the barrel, and then you use the left Move controller to literally put each individual bullet in, and then you cock it back, and how you do it, which you're like, oh my god, it's a bit of a ball ache. But when the fucking zombies are coming at you, Jesus Christ, that is one of the tensest, and you can feel your hand shaking because there's a time frame in the game where each day a bell rings, and that's when it's basically time to run and hide, because all the zombies come out to play at this certain time.
At least they keep to a schedule for you.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't really pay that much attention, because when I first started playing, I was just like, I just want to get through it quickly, see if it's any good, see if it's worth spending the time on. So it was like, bell, yada yada yada, skip through and just start playing. So all of a sudden, my watch in the game started pulsating. I was like, what's going on? But my left move controller started vibrating. So I looked at the wristwatch on it, and the warning came up for the bells, and I was like, all right, okay. Turned this corner, and I was like, oh, there's 2 zombies there. So sneakily walking around, peep the corner, and you can literally, if you put your hand up against a wall on the game, you can drop a creep around the corner with your melee weapon in hand or your gun in hand, whatever. Do it. So I was took one zombie out, went back around the corner again, and as soon as I popped my head back around again, there was just a swarm of them running at me, and I was like, oh no, I've hardly got any health, and I've got no stamina, and I do not know what I'm going to do. And it was just a really tense moment of gaming. Ran into this garage where I thought I could hide, and I hid in a cupboard, and I was like, I'll be all right in here. I was like, I wonder how long this lasts for. So peeped my head out, and there was just still a swarm of them out there. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to fight my way through these. So I literally got as many weapons as my backpack could fill, and I was like, bring the noise. Went out and just started you see in the Walking Dead when they're surrounded by hundreds of them, they just start going on a stabbing rampage. Started doing that. Found out that if you've got a knife, you can gut the walkers and actually put the guts on them, and you can walk amongst them.
Wow.
And that moment when I figured that out, and I just started walking amongst them, and you're just looking to the left and right, and they're just shambling alongside you. I was like, oh my God. It's so nerve-wracking, but each moment is just, it gets better than the last. But it's all mini missions that go through because your aim is to basically survive and get to this fabled land, the sanctuary. So it's not called sanctuary, but this place. And I was like, right, so you got to craft all your weapons, your supplies, your medicines. You go looting and fill your backpack full of junk, craft it all together. So your weapons and that sort of stuff you can create. But the physics are really fun. So you can build sticky bombs, launch them out, and then when the zombies explode, if the head comes off, you can actually catch the head and then throw the head as a weapon. So it's little stupid things like that, which you're just that's really clever the way it's done.
Crafting, you said, eh? Crafting. You're speaking my language. I'm back in.
So
back in on this game.
It's amazing. And also, if you're just walking around, because it's open world, so you're walking around, and the controls are really intuitive and really, really fluid and really nice to play with. But if you're walking around and all of a sudden the zombies start coming at you, and I was like, oh God, what to do? And I turned a corner and I was like, shit, there's more there. I need to get to a door. And I was like, I can't get to the door. So I looked at the drain pipe and I was like, I wonder, yeah, you can climb the drain pipes. It's you can literally just traverse, jump over cars. You can do whatever you can do to escape them. So literally just climb up drain pipes, but you've got to do left, right with your own hands, as though you're actually climbing up a drain pipe, because it knows where your hands are located in the game to obviously where the camera is. So it's done so well. And as you're aware, seeing me at the cons and stuff doing VR, I completely get immersed in it and just forget I'm not actually in that moment. So the amount of times I've been just cursing, I'm just stupid and screaming my head off. It's just it's just so damn good.
So forgive me if I missed this bit earlier on when I was away. If it's as open world as that, how are you moving around it if you're in a normal sized person's house? What's the movement like to get around that?
What on the PS4, on the PSVR, you've got your move controller. So you've got the left move controller. You press in the button in the middle, which is your walk button, and then you've got your triangle and square and X and stuff. So they will turn left and right like degree angles and sort of move it, but you can you can turn it more fluid so it doesn't feel like it's just a jankly move to the right or move to the left. It's like quite fluid the way it's done. But I can't stand still when I'm playing it, so I'll start panicking when I'm getting chased and stuff and don't realise that I've turned towards the living room door instead of watching the TV. And I'll go to swing something and just like hit the wall. I'm like, oh God, right, okay, so I'm there now. So it's brilliant. Obviously the quest has the Guardian circles in the quest are amazing. So like you won't have the issue of hitting the wall or the door, because usually it's quite good going like, oh, get towards it. Whereas the
don't worry, you still can.
Like,
you still can.
You're at the circle now. Like
I've definitely punched a wall at least once.
But it is just it. Honestly, if you've got a VR and you haven't got it yet, then for shame, because it's just incredible. It's and the weird thing is, it was a stealth release as well. It's just literally on their Twitter, they just went, "Oh yeah, it's out on PSVR now. If you go to the store."
Because genuinely, the first thing I heard of it was actually a NerdOD post, I think shared by you, Reg. That's the first I actually heard of that game. I was like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. Just there it is. So
yeah,
finger on the pulse. Finger on the pulse.
And also, they've apparently confirmed that Half-Life Alyx is coming out on the PS4, and that's
really
like a stealth release at some point later on this year.
Wow.
Oh wow!
And it's like, how are they doing this? Like, and especially Half-Life VR, which was supposed to be this huge like system seller, and like the killer app, so to speak. And I was like, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to release it. Obviously, it won't look as nice, but it's still great.
Do you know why though? Because they were like, oh, there's a new Half-Life. I was like, oh my God, it's Half-Life 3. And they went, oh no, it's this other thing which is Half-Life, but it's not actually Half-Life 3. And they went, oh. So now they're like, oh, we're going to put it on the platforms because people are upset that it's not Half-Life 3.
But from what I've heard, it's an amazing game. It's like one of the best examples of what you can do with VR. But the best thing is using the Steam, the Valve VR kit, because of the hand controls, and that you'd lose that on the PlayStation, wouldn't you? So, but then I suppose not everyone is playing it on that. You can use an Oculus or whatever on them.
Well, the nice thing is with your Quest now as well is they put in the hand tracking, haven't they? Have you updated your?
I haven't used that yet. I've seen it used, but I haven't used it myself.
It's so good. And Mike brought his in, and I was having a play with it, and I was like, yeah, that was part of the reason why it sold me on going, I need to get a Quest. It's just like the hand tracking movement is just incredible, and the fact they managed to port it onto the Quest is phenomenal.
Yeah, I haven't used that. I'll have to revisit that, because I like the controllers personally, but I'm sure
really nice.
Once you switch, I'm sure it's the kind of thing it's hard to switch back to.
It's just one of those. He showed me like a sorcerer game on it, and the sorcerer game where you literally have to like craft the spells and do it all. So you're like creating a fireball, and instead of doing it with controllers, you're genuinely doing it with your hands.
That's pretty cool.
Is awesome. The downside to that, though, I suppose, is the fact that you don't have sounds weird, you don't have like the vibration sensors that you get on the controllers, which is something I like. Like I like in The Walking Dead, where I'm running and all of a sudden like I've ran out of stamina, instead of it just flashing red on the screen, my move controller's vibrating, because I'm like, I'm like, God, yeah, my heartbeat is getting so quick and so.
There's something who's head for that kind of feedback, I was playing Overwatch, no surprise there, recently on my Xbox, and the thing is, obviously with an Xbox controller, when the battery gets low, it starts turning off functions, and the first one it turns off is the vibration. And I like to try and adhere to good battery etiquette with my controllers, but I was playing this game and it got very low. And the first thing I noticed is that when I was firing the weapon, the controller wasn't vibrating anymore. And it's such a weird little thing. I don't know, people who play on PC and anything else won't experience this anyway. So why it was so weird for me, I found it really affected me almost, which sounds like it sounds weirdly over the top, but like because I didn't have that kind of feedback that I was firing, although I could see it happening, it just felt very different. And so I imagine having that in a VR game, suddenly not having that, we have that kind of reaction of, oh, hang on, am I still in that moment? What's changed here? Something is different, and when something is different, does it throw you off? I guess is the question. Perhaps that's why I've not tried the hand tracking for that. That's part of the reason.
I still remember the first time I ever done it with the N64 Rumble pack.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love that I love Nintendo because I love that they can sell add-ons for anything.
Yeah.
I love the idea that it was like that it was a thing that just jolted when you pressed a button, and then people bought it. People bought it. I had one. People bought them in droves. Like I don't remember how much they cost back then, but the idea that putting that on your controller, we hadn't had that before, so it was unnecessary. It was completely unnecessary, and yet it now has become a feature in every console. Since that's crazy.
And look at the new PlayStation 5 controller, which they're taking it that extra step. And people who are reporting on it are saying that it's like when Apple brought in the taptic feedback and stuff like that, and it's so precise and amazing, that it can do all these weird and wonderful things. That's supposed to be included in the next version of the controller.
Here's a question for you. Speaking of next gen consoles, right? So I have an Xbox One X, and it outputs 4K. It looks fantastic. I have human eyes, so if you go beyond 4K, I'm not seeing shit. Like it just looks good, right? You get to a point where good is as much as you can get. So let's talk about the next consoles that are going to come out. Because I know the PS4 Pro is the same outputs at 4K. When they bring out the PS5 and the new Xbox, which I forget what they're actually calling this one, but never mind. What's the point of putting? And there may be an actual reason here that I'm just overseeing, but what is the point of putting a bigger GPU into one of these consoles or whatever else when realistically we're kind of at the max of what most homes would ever have for perhaps the next few years at least. So where's the advantage? I'm playing games like Overwatch, like Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a little bit older now, but like that is a beautiful game. It looks fantastic when you play it in full resolution.
But do you watch, let's say, a Pixar film, or I don't know, you watch Star Wars, you watch Rise of Skywalker, and you look at the CGI in that, and you can easily be taken away from that and think, oh, this looks real.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. If you're increasing that even further, what's next from that? What's beyond real?
Games aren't at that level.
It's going to be a very, very, very long time until we get.
I agree. Totally agree.
But
that's
the showcase of the latest Xbox stuff.
Yeah.
And like all the developers and stuff are now coming out going, yeah, if you actually expected this huge technical leap to like, the cars actually being like looking like you're in a car, then you are mistaken. Like it's not going to be like the PS2 to PS3.
Yeah,
it's going to be nothing like that. It's literally going to be like the PS3 to PS4 again. I
totally agree. We're already at a pretty high level, but I think every time a new one comes out, I think that the same question comes up. Because everyone thinks, look at what we can do now. But because you look at the PlayStation 4 at the beginning of its life and look at the games at the end of its life, and streets ahead.
That's true. But if you think about an 8K TV costing £10,000, how far are we from? I remember when 4K TVs were at least a couple thousand, and now they're reasonable price television you can have in your house. But how long do you think we're going to have to wait before 8K gets that same kind of level? Because we've kind of slowed down with AV technology, I think. Yeah. So
I think 4K is the big thing to up the resolution from on a top of the range game from 1080p up to 4K and have it running at like 60 frames or 120 frames or whatever at 120 hertz. That's the stuff that this sort of the next generation is gonna bring with it. And I agree. Most people, I definitely wouldn't notice a difference.
Yeah.
For ages, I wasn't bothered about the difference between HD and standard. I didn't pay Sky the extra £5 to have HD, and it never bothered me. But now I've had
one of my favourite memories ever.
Just like this is terrible.
Of that is my mum and dad when they first bought Sky HD, and my dad went out and bought a HD TV solely to go with it.
Yeah,
and like my mum and dad were always like just impulse buyers, which is where I suppose I get mine from. Where it's a case of, they'll go out, and we always used to joke about it, like me and Chris and Dave, used to be like, oh, they're both off together this weekend. They're going to come back with like a new couch, or it'll be a new car, or there'll be something they used to come back with to do with like the house or whatever. And my dad just come home and was like, oh, you're going to like this one, Gray? Do you want to give us a hand getting this out of the car? I'm like, what's this? And it was, at the time, a massive TV, because it was like 32-inch TV, and we were like, oh my God, this is huge. This is incredible. And my dad was like, and it's in HD. And I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to tell everyone I've got a HD TV. And I'm like, this is going to be insane. And then we set up, we got Sky HD plugged in, and we were like, oh wow, ladies and gentlemen, this is incredible. Like, got Dave round to watch a film when they went out for the night. And I was like, get onto this. We've got this on HD. I was like, you're going to love this. And he's like, sound. We started watching it, and he's like, do you want to stick it in HD? Like, what? He went, yeah, just flip over the source to HD. Like, it is on HD? He's like, no, flick it over to HDMI. Like, so we've had this TV for 6 months, telling people how incredible this TV is, and never once used it in HD. Like, we watched like the football, and I was like, look how clear it is, look how crisp those colours are. It's like, oh, you can see the beads of sweat on that football, like really getting into it, because they spent like bank on this HD TV because it just come out, and we never even used it. We just like watching the David Attenborough documentaries at the time, going, these have never looked better, when they look just the same as the TV that we had in like my bedroom, because it was just normal SD. And then when
that
Dave
doesn't
was
matter.
like,
It's the enjoyment they got out of it, thinking that it was right.
Yeah,
it was just perfect though. It was just, and I will always hold that memory.
I also
every time
can't get over the fact that you just dropped the bomb there that your dad referred to you as Gray. Like, I'm only just accepting the fact that Reg isn't your real name, let alone you've got different nicknames as well. Like, who are you? I don't even know who you are anymore. You got so many names.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and those were only the clean ones.
Exactly. So we're coming up to about an hour. We're at about 50 minutes. We've got about 10 minutes left. And you know, you guys have been talking quite a lot for this 50 minutes. So how long do you think you could talk for, right, before you got either bored of it or your throat started hurting? Or
I know where you're going with this. How incredible is this?
Well, how long?
I reckon about 32 hours.
About 32. Fair enough. Okay, well, I know, Reg, you're aware of a young gentleman called Watsky, who is
he's we interviewed.
That's it. We do go to youtube.com/nerdod and have a look at our Watsky interview. Watsky is this amazing rapper / poet, and he's just, apart from the fact that he likes to jump from beams at the, above a crowd and break young concert attenders' arms, that was a silly mistake. But other than that, he's awesome and makes amazing music. And he's got a new album out called Placement, and he was supposed to be touring it. Yet, unfortunately, for some reason, he had to cancel that tour. So he's concerned about, obviously, himself, but also more so all the people involved in the tours that aren't getting paid, the venues, the roadies, the just everything, his musicians. So he decided he'd do a little charity event. And he's generally quite well renowned for his freestyling. So he decided he would try and break the world record for the longest freestyle of all time. So I think Reg. So Dave, how long do you think the world record was for the longest non-stop freestyle?
This is crazy, isn't it? Because I'm either going to guess way under or way over, and I don't know which one it is. Let's say 4.5 hours.
Okay, cool. So for the original world record, add 20 to that.
Jesus.
It was like 25 hours non-stop. Apparently you're allowed a 5-minute break every hour, according to Guinness, just for health and safety.
Well, that's not non-stop.
No.
Bullshit.
No, I know, exactly. So, Watsky decided he'd break that, but for some reason he picked 33.5 hours. Don't know why, but that's what he said he was going to do. I've cut out some audio clips. I want to play you a couple of clips of him at the start, at the middle, and then at the end. Because you think, after 33 hours you would be just dead, right?
Well,
you'd have run out of things to say. he was sat there with a Scrabble dictionary, just flicking through, just picking out words and just freestyling about them just for 30 odd hours. And people who you could donate obviously money. It was a fundraiser, and you could get him to give you a shout out and stuff, so he would do a little freestyle about you. But so first of all, this is his when he started. Okay, so it starts off kind of slow. Let me know if you can hear this.
Oh shit, I guess we're starting. The mic is where my heart is. I know what my heart is. I hear my own voice.
So not you'd think he would just get off to a really fast start, wouldn't you, and just be straight in, but no, he's taking it easy.
It's a marathon runner.
He's in exactly the marathon, not a sprint. Then we've got sort of halfway through, and he's not really making much sense.
Keep being curious. Never took ketamine, but I got the set I seen on this fucking key card.
Yeah, so that's after 22 hours. That was. So okay. You'd expect him to be flagging a bit. That's most of us probably couldn't stay up that long. You guys can because you've got babies. But then he gets to the end, and I checked out the beginning. I skipped through a bit and looked at a few bits of the stream, and I checked out the end. And did you ever, when you were at school, did you have to do like cross country? Yeah, and
badly.
I was really bad at it. I just can't. I'm really good over short distances, really bad over long distances. So I would take ages. I would do really badly, but then I'd get to the last couple of 100 meters, and I could, for some reason, just sprint, and I would overtake about 20 people. I don't know how I did it. Just all this energy left in my legs, and suddenly I would go. Exactly. So yeah, as he gets towards the end.
1 fucking minute, 60 seconds to the record, and you know that I'm not checking, and you know my fastest checker, but all of this is free, and all of this is flowing, killing this, I'm gonna take it slow until we're done, and now I'm done, and now this fucking record is right here, no, I'm not checker, this is it, we are respecting, we are done. Woo!
33 and a half hours.
I mean, I'll be honest, at the end, he got me back, because sort of the beginning and the middle, I'm thinking, all right, I'm not sure about the longevity. I'm not sure if I'm not saying for a second that I could do it for 33 hours, but I could definitely freestyle a bit faster than that. Even as a stream of consciousness, I could talk about Mass Effect faster than that for about 3.5 hours at least. But then he finishes strong.
I mean, and give Dave a Scrabble dictionary, and he's off. But I'm wondering if you guys have at least one question from that though, over the course of 33 hours. Does no one want to know how he goes to the toilet?
The toilet breaks.
Yeah.
Just take the camera with him and go.
I've got one final clip where he went to the toilet and explained. Here we go.
It's time for me to take a bathroom break. I'll see you in 30 seconds. I hope you're doing great. If you're new to the stream, hope this doesn't make you scream. But what I've been doing when I pee is continuing to flow stupidly, cause I got a mic's hardwired, and my body's such higher vibes, so I can go with my lavalier, as I am an expert peer.
So he just walked into the bathroom with his mic on and just went. Didn't take the camera with him. It was fine.
I must say I appreciate the rhyming of lavalier, which is not a word you see that often.
Peer
with peer, yeah.
It's like I feel like at least a couple of points, and toilet break was probably one of them. He had it already in his head. I think he cheated. Well, he was like, I know at some point I'm gonna have to do a comedy bit about going to the toilet.
Well, you'd be thinking ahead, wouldn't you? I'm sure you'd be thinking ahead for I'm sure he pulled something from things he's done previously in that. There's no way he just came up with completely new stuff all the time. He's going to reuse stuff. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with that.
People were giving him words to rhyme, and apparently he spent 10 minutes trying to come up with a word that rhymes with doinkle.
I would argue that doinkle's not a word in the first place. Did anyone give him sporange, is my question.
I don't know. If only. If we ever meet that guy again, we're giving him sporange, not orange. Yeah. And let's see what he says.
And 33 hours to rhyme it with.
That's it. He could do it.
Uncle
He could
Ryan would
absolutely
be
do it, Reg, couldn't he?
Yeah, well and truly.
No
Well
problem.
and truly.
Mm.
Good old Sperange.
Yeah. That's another
dear.
reason to go to our YouTube channel. Just Google Nerd OD Sporringe, and I'm sure it'll come up.
Great lazy advertising there. There's a reason to go and look at the YouTube. See you later.
Well, last thing before we go, the Bare Naked Ladies 1 week sing along is coming together pretty well.
Nice. Very nice.
Out of 76 people that I need, only 8 people haven't replied.
Wow.
Wow.
Which is unusual.
Ratio.
Yeah,
Good ratio.
Not bad, is it? Not bad. So I will, at some point this week, I will call on you three to do your bit.
Can't wait.
Exciting. I can't wait. Are we all doing the same bit? Are we doing the bit we discussed, or are we all doing different things?
We're doing the bit we discussed.
Right.
Barbershop quartet-esque.
Yes, absolutely.
I think
I just wasn't sure if all of a sudden it was going to be like, right, Reg, you need to do every single fast rap bit, and I'm like, okay.
I think if we're going to do quartet style, can I do low rather than high?
That's fine.
Do better
You
low.
do one of the intros. Yeah, I need to know who wants to do the high bits and who feels. Because basically, the people who do the lower bits have to sing more. So so like for example, Reg, can you find a note and keep it for 4 lines?
Yeah.
Good.
No, I can. I'm an amazing singer.
All right.
I am ready for this.
Awesome. Right. Anywho, I think we out, as Watsky would say.
Wrapping it up.
We out, boys. That's it. Wrap it up before you slap it up.
Oh, no, Reg. No, that's Reg After Dark. That's Reg After Dark behavior.
No, I meant you wrap up the pod before you upload it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was.
It's just it was a Tim Westwood quote, but still.
We know what you meant.
Obviously, me and Dave didn't.
Right.
But anywho.
My bombshell.
Anyway, I've been Dave.
I've been Reg.
I've been Dan.
Toodles.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.